people seem to naturally have big, bold shoulders, but there's nothing natural about it. It's the result of many years of smart training and recovery, starting with the right exercises. So let's break down exactly what exercises you should be doing, how much weight you should lift, how many times you should train them, and how to fix common issues like lousy shoulder posture. First, you need to understand that the shoulder is made up of three main parts: the front delt, side delt, and rear delt. Now, some exercises target all of these, but we want to focus on the side delt today because that S what gives you that wide-shouldered look. And the best way to target this area is with lateral raises. Research shows that these produce more activity in the side delts than any other movement, especially when done behind the body. This variation maximizes the stretch under tension, producing the highest muscle activation. Another study had participants perform 5 different lateral raise variations and found that the neutral position resulted in optimal medial delt activation while limiting excessive trap involvement. Using a neutral grip like this also helps if you have shoulder impingement or other issues that make your front delt fire too much. All of this is to say that one of the best ways to develop your side delts and create that wide-shouldered look is with behind-the-body lateral raises. But there's a question that confuses people. How heavy should you go? You might think that you need to use really heavy weight to build muscle, but the reality is more nuanced. Some research shows that heavier weight is better for building maximal strength. But there is another body of evidence that suggests that moderate and light loads can produce similar hypertrophy outcomes. But why would that be? Wouldn't lighter weights just lead to more reps and fatigue sooner, resulting in less overall work and force production? Not necessarily. First off, the shoulders are smaller muscles, so they fatigue differently than larger muscles like the leg. Second, research shows that the side delts only reach full activation in the last few grueling reps of each set. This means that even if you use a light weight like 15 pounds, as long as you take each set to absolute failure, you'll get the same results as someone who uses 40 pounds and only does 8 reps. So let's dig deeper into training close to failure, because there are different ways to do it. One effective method is to simply add reps each week, but this may not be realistic as you progress. So instead, you could try drop sets, which involves reducing the weight after each set and going again. Or you could do rest, pause, which means taking short breaks of around 10 seconds within a set to boost strength and improve endurance. Finally, you could use myo reps, which are essentially assisted pull. This machine gives you additional help to complete more reps than you could otherwise do unassisted. The key is to find a technique that lets you train close to failure and apply it consistently. Next, let's talk about how often you should train your shoulders. Research suggests that training them twice a week provides the ideal balance between stimulus and recovery for most people. This means that you'll be able to maximize growth while preventing. However, you don't need to go to the extremes that some suggest. In fact, training your shoulders every day isn't better for muscle growth. And remember, while deltoids recover faster than large lower body muscles, that doesn't mean you can neglect proper recovery. That's where a lot of people go wrong. They prioritize intensity and volume, but forget about recovery. Now, let me give you an example. Say you decide to train your shoulders twice a week. You could organize your training like this. On Monday, you do a session focusing on the side and rear delts. Then on Thursday, you train the front delts directly with exercises like dumbbell frontal raises. This setup ensures you hit all the key areas of the shoulder and spreads the workload across multiple sessions. But even with this plan, you still need to manage fatigue and optimize recovery. Some research highlights the importance of sleep quality for muscle repair and growth. So getting enough good sleep is just as crucial as your training. So how much weight should you actually use? Well, since you train close to failure with shoulders, you won't always be adding weight on the bar like you do with squats or deadlifts. Instead, you'll need to track your reps and adjust accordingly. For instance, if you can do 12 reps with 15 pounds, bump the weight up next time. Aim for 10 reps, and if you complete them, increase the weight again. This keeps you challenged and prevents plateaus. But remember, track your reps, not just the weight on the bar. If you can do 12 reps with 15 pounds, increase the weight next time and aim for 10 reps. Once you hit that, increase the weight again. This way you'll always be pushing yourself and making progress. It is also important to note that most people leave their rear delts underdeveloped because you won't train them directly. Since the rear delts are already engaged during pulling exercises like rows, you might think they don't need extra attention. However, research suggests that isolating the rear delts leads to more significant strength and size gains than relying solely on compound lifts. This means that you shouldn't just neglect your rear deck. Make sure to incorporate exercises like reverse pec deck flies or cable reverse flies, specifically targeting this area. So how much weight should you use for these rear delt exercises? Again, it's all about finding the right weight that challenges you without compromising form. A good rule of thumb is to select a weight that allows you to perform 10 to 15 reps before fatigue sets in. This ensures that you're sufficiently fatiguing the muscle without sacrificing proper technique. Remember, shoulders are smaller muscles, so they fatigue differently than larger ones like quads or hamstrings. So keep this in mind when determining your weight load. One way to boost your training is by switching up your exercises periodically. This prevents boredom and challenges your muscles in new ways, leading to improved strength and size. Research supports that varying exercises is more effective than sticking to just one movement for lateral raises. Switching things up can help prevent plateaus and continue challenging your muscle. Try different variations like dumbbell side laterals, cable side laterals, bent arm laterals, and behind the head variations. You can rotate through these exercises every couple of weeks. If you've been struggling with shoulder development, consider trying different lateral raise variations. Stick with one for a few weeks, then switch to another. This approach prevents plateaus and continually challenges your shoulders in new ways, leading to more effective training. Research suggests that varying exercises is better than using just one, so don't be afraid to mix it up. Another key is to fuel your body properly. To build impressive shoulders, you need a calorie surplus, which means consuming more calories than you burn. Even though that sounds simple, it's mentally challenging, especially since you'll likely gain some fat along with the muscle. But that's just the cost of building muscle, and you can trim the fat later. Focus on eating nutrient-dense foods like lean proteins, complex carbohydrates, and healthy fats to provide your body the raw materials it needs to build muscle and recover properly. Finally, don't neglect your training history. If you've been lifting for a while, you've probably done a lot of bench presses and military presses, which already work your front delts quite a bit. If you want to build well-balanced shoulders, you shouldn't put all your effort into the front delts and neglect the others. Take your training history into account and adjust your program accordingly. For example, if you've been doing a lot of chest and upper back work, you might need to focus more on isolation exercises for your front and side delts. By considering your past training, you can create a more balanced and effective program for building your shoulders. So there you have it. Building your shoulders is mostly about keeping things consistent over a long period of time. If you stick to a solid program that includes the right exercises, adequate volume, and proper recovery, you will see results, even if it takes a while. Stay focused, stay disciplined, and enjoy the process of building those impressive shoulders. Hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to check out our other awesome content. We've got plenty of evidence-based tips and routines covering all aspects of fitness. You'll learn how to build muscle strength and get the perfect physique.